because I'm a mother. My oldest child is 34. We feel like our voice is gone, or we become silent, or we put other people's needs and voice before our own, and then we get drowned out. And then it shows up in a lot of different ways, right? But writing is therapeutic. You don't have to publish your story for writing to be therapeutic. You can journal, and that helps a lot too. So I feel like the women and the men who come to me, they're at the point of their life where they have a lesson or a message that they want to share with the world so they can help others heal.
Mompreneurs, it's not business, baby. It's business and babies. Whether you're rocking the carpool line, building your business during nap time, or dreaming big after bedtime, we've got the tools, tips, and strategies to help you grow your business. Grab a snack, your headphones, and enjoy this time with us, because mom life and boss life deserve balance.
Hey friend, welcome back to the Monetizing Mompreneurs podcast, where we talk about building visibility, collaboration, and momentum without burnout. If you caught last week's episode, when God closes a door in business, here's what it really means. You know, we talked about how sometimes a closed door isn't rejection, it's redirection. And when God redirects you, that's usually when people fall off or people get in alignment with your walk. That's why this week's episode is all about the power of collaboration, because you were never meant to build your business alone. When we link arms with others, share our stories, and show up in community, that's when the doors really start to open. Collaboration isn't about competition. It's about alignment. It's about finding the right people who bring out the best in you and amplify your purpose and your message. And today I'm sitting down with Elona Washington, Chief Publishing Officer and founder of The Author's Journey. Elona helps women share their stories, publish their books, and build communities that create impact. She's also one of our featured speakers at the upcoming CEO Moms Get Social Summit. That's right, it's coming out, and it's gonna be starting next week, so you better go onto the website. And in this conversation, she shares her 3C framework: connection, community, and cash, along with how obedience, courage, and collaboration have shaped her success. This episode is going to remind you why your stories matter and how collaboration can create opportunities that you never imagined. So grab your beverage of choice. Mine is a latte all day. Get comfy, and let's dive into this conversation with Elona. Elona Washington is the Chief Publishing Officer and founder of The Author's Journey, an indie publishing and marketing company. A proud member of Ingram Spark's exclusive pro publishing program, she is also listed among their services as a book marketing expert. Her publishing and social justice insights have been featured in the Independent Book Publishers Association, IBPA magazine, the largest indie publishing association in the US, as well as the Philadelphia Sun, Thrive Global, and Huffington Post. Elona, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And so tell us about your journey.
Absolutely. So I went to Howard. I wanted to be a professor, and my first job out of college was marketing, and I never looked back. So I've been doing all things marketing for corporate America for about 25 years. And then 3 years ago, I quit corporate America and started my own imprint. So the last job I had in corporate was with a big 5 publishing house. And then I left and I said, I'm just going to do an indie press and work with smaller authors.
Wonderful. So what made you work with authors?
Pretty much my own story. When I was a kid, I told myself that I was always going to write a book. And like most people, I procrastinated throughout much of my life. And I finally got it done in 2016. And it took off bigger than I expected it to be. I ended up being interviewed by USA Today, and I joined some causes around my book's message. And I was interviewed by the Canadian Broadcasting Company, just all of these things. So when I published the book, I realized, and I actually posted on Facebook, that I love the book marketing aspect more than I love the publishing itself. And so a lot of people in my community saw my success and they saw that post and they asked me to help them self-publish their book. And I have been helping people self-publish since 2017, and they saw really huge success as well. And so I thought my dream job was going to be working for a trad publisher, but they took all of the seasoning out, and I decided that I wanted to go back and do it myself.
Wow, that's wonderful. I mean, especially like, do you feel like it's your calling or something that you're meant to do?
I do. Women and even moms, because I'm a mother, my oldest child is 34. We feel like our voice is gone, or we become silent, or we put other people's needs and voice before our own, and then we get drowned out. And then it shows up in a lot of different ways, right? But writing is therapeutic. You don't have to publish your story for writing to be therapeutic. You can journal, and that helps a lot too. So I feel like the women and the men who come to me, they're at the point of their life where they have a lesson or a message that they want to share with the world so they can help others heal in a certain way.
Yeah, I love that how writing can be therapeutic. That is legit. It really can be. What motivated you to create the author's journey?
I started off just doing marketing for small businesses because I love all things marketing. And I don't know about you or anyone watching this, if you have this voice in your head that keeps telling you, do this, do this, do this, and you keep hearing it, but you continue to do things your way, after a while, God is going to find a way to get you back on the right ship. I always think of Jonah and the fish when he was swallowed by the fish. Yeah, so I would be like Jonisa because I refuse to listen to things my way.
That's one of my favorite stories, actually, just because I love it because it's like, okay, no matter what, God is always going to put me in the right path. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like, for me, it's kind of like a safeguard, like, okay, I want, he got me. If I'm going the wrong way, he's going to swallow me up and make sure I'm spit back into the right direction, right?
Right. Exactly. But sometimes too, diverting when you know you should be doing a certain thing, it just gives you undue stress and pressure and challenges that you would not have encountered if you had done things the way he wants you to do them. So that's a learning lesson. I learned my second half of life. I called it reluctant obedience, but now I'm just obedient.
Love it. Reluctant obedience.
Hmm.
What would you say, like, because I'm going through my own season of life and I'm also trying to like stumble my way into what I believe God is calling me to do. And along your journey, what stood out for you that that God was calling you to this?
When I would try to go my way, people who I didn't even know would come pulling me back. Like I told you, like I've helped people self-publish books. I've helped people with anthologies. And so these would be my quote unquote competitors asking me to talk to their authors because their authors are stuck and they want me to help them gain confidence in owning their story and sharing their story, helping them learn marketing skills. And then, people still coming to me saying that they have gone through this thing and then they want the courage to share their story. And it got to the point where it was interrupting my day. It was like so many requests that I couldn't shed being a book marketing coach or an indie press. So I said I might as well just do it full time. And it was they were paying me more than I ever expected them to pay me. And I just realized that why am I struggling trying to make something work when I have something right here people are wanting me to do?
Thank you so much for sharing that story because I know that we have many listeners that maybe are in that fork in the road of kind of like what they want to do, what they believe they're gifted to do, and what they believe they're called to do, right? And it's kind of like you have to find where you fit. And I think that's so hard sometimes.
And then too, it may not be something that you're meant to do right now. I think if you're gifted, moved, and called to do something, there's a through line between all three of it. Like, I don't feel a calling for engineering because engineering doesn't fit with writing. I have a calling for marketing, but marketing works well being a publisher. Marketing works well, talking to small business owners. Small business owners need a book. So everything kind of ties in together. But what you focus on, what you dedicate your time to, I have learned the hard way is really important to honestly just sit back, relax, journal, pray, and then just like look at how everything around you is moving. And then you get your answer that way instead of just forcing something to happen and not paying attention to what's going on around you.
That's good because we can definitely force things like, no, it has to be this way. We have to do things. I think you have to kind of be a little bit resilient and going with the flow sometimes and listening and really paying attention, like you were saying, paying attention to what's going on. I see your website and it says hybrid publishing services. What gaps in traditional and self-publishing did you see that led you to kind of build a hybrid publishing platform?
So, for people who don't know, hybrid publishing is when the author invests upfront and in exchange they get higher royalties. If you get a trad deal, you typically get 10 to 12 cents per dollar. If you get an advance, you don't get your money back until they make their money back from the advance that they gave you, just like music artists. And you hear on every platform how music artists are dissatisfied with deals, and some of them are going indie, and some of them having real success doing indie, right? Exact same thing with authors. When I got the job, I was head of digital marketing for an imprint. And when I got the job, it was my assumption that we would work closely with the authors when it came to marketing. It was my assumption that we would look at their landing page, look at their strategy and say, hey, try this, 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 and this. I see this is working, that's not working. They don't do any of that. Every month or every 4 to 6 weeks, I would get a new set of books. So I could be marketing between 8 to 12 books for 4 to 6 weeks. We don't have time to sit down with every single author and talk to them about marketing. So the challenges trad authors face are the exact same challenges a self-published author faces. And the assumption that with a trad deal, you're going to get support, that's not true. Over 56% of them are dissatisfied with a traditional deal. They're dissatisfied with their editors, like 70 something dissatisfied with marketing. And then I literally just posted this on LinkedIn today. The mid-list authors are actually leaving traditional to go back to hybrid publishing models, indie presses, because they get more personal touch. They get someone who checks in on them with their marketing, who can look at their report and say, hey, you haven't sold a book in 30 days. What are you doing? Right? You're not going to get that type of touch point at a trad author unless you're an A-list author. If they notice that their A-list author sales are down, we're going to do an extra push. But not everyone gets the same treatment.
That's good to know, especially if you're going to be publishing a book. Or do you only publish books, or are they magazines, or what are the type of publications that you work with people on? Is it usually just books?
Nonfiction books. I have a client now. She started off saying, oh, I want to, do a nonfiction book about, I don't know, workplace something. And then now it's a 3-part children's book. And I was like, sis, I don't do children's books, but we're going to make it work. So I have graphic designers that can do anything. So uh, we're going to put it together. We'll talk about it in a couple of days. But I would like to do fiction. Fiction is number one. And like the wellness genre, self-help, all of that is like a really popular genre right now. And that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. But I would love to publish some fiction books.
Yeah, I do like a good fiction. I do like a good story, right? A good story sell, right?
Yep.
Everybody loves a good story. Tell us a little bit kind of like about the author's journey, services and editing and design and distribution. Is it kind of like, do you sell on Amazon? Is it kind of like the KDP? Do you do KDP?
So my hybrid services is a submission process. So you submit your manuscript and then we have a discussion about it. I also offer self-publishing, but instead of the self-publishing DIY model, it's more like DWI. I'm doing it with the author. So they get book coaching like once a month. They can come in because everyone gets frustrated. Everyone gets dejected. Everybody feels like, I don't know, some sort of imposter syndrome creeps in. And that's why I call it the author's journey, because it's an emotional roller coaster. So they get that, and then they get access to my freelancers. So my freelancers design their book covers. So they get access to all of my book covers. They get templates so they can do the interior formatting.
I see that one that says Voices of Wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's Triumph in the Trenches. You can actually see that on your website, like that cover.
And
then the courageous pursuit of authenticity. Yes.
Yeah. So you get access to my graphic designers. They will design the book cover. You get templates. So the interior formatting is already done. And I try to alleviate some of the pressure that a self-published author needs to do so they can just focus on writing and marketing. And they also get like a standard book marketing plan as well.
Amen. So Elona, you're going to be one of our speakers and possibly in our panel discussion coming this November for the Montaze Mompreneurs Summit, Audio Summit. And your talk is going to be the 3C framework, how mompreneurs turn connection into cash. Can you talk to us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. So I will say this, and this applies to my authors, to any business person, unless you're an extrovert. I don't think extroverts have this problem. So we have a great idea. We have immense expertise, and we know that there's this thing that we want to do, but we're only going half throttle. We're not going full throttle. We may do one piece of something and then compare ourselves to others or don't feel like doing it, and then we never follow through. So I like to talk about the 3C framework to keep us focused, because the last C is cash. So connection, community, and cash. By focusing on those 3 C's and doing so consistently, you can increase your revenue. When my first year with the author's journey, I generated 6 figures, and I did it again the next year. But, and I will say this, I wasn't even going full throttle. Like, I know I could do more. I know I should be showing up more. And that's because I was missing number 2, the community. I wasn't showing up consistently so people could get used to my face and used to my services and my humor and all of that. So there's usually something missing. I don't know if your audience pays attention to like Cardi B, like as a marketer. Oh my gosh, I admire her rollout because her label told her, just do podcasts, just do all the music sites, do all those things. And she said, no, I'm going to form a connection. I'm going to give with my community. And then she ended up being what the first female rapper to sell 200,000 units for her first two albums ever. And she has all of these other accolades because she implemented the 3C framework. I wish I could have said that I taught it to her, but it's something that she just knows to do, right? And so, and she was pregnant while doing it. Talk about a mompreneur. She already has 3 kids and she's pregnant doing all of this at the same time. Like literally, there's no excuse.
Wow. Yeah. There's no excuse for us not getting to where we need to be, right? We need to hit the ground running.
Exactly. Exactly. Every time I tell myself, well, I don't feel like something, I'm like, Cardi B's up there, jumping on stage, pregnant right now, and you can't film a TikTok.
That's good. That's good perspective. Right? With a belly and everything. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Yeah, I know there's I guess it's about getting uncomfortable, right? When it comes to marketing, sometimes you just got to get uncomfortable. You got to do what you got to do in order to facilitate those connections and that community. I'm all about community. I do believe that if you want to have a sustainable, amazing business, community is going to be that key. And that's one of the reasons why we put on the summit together in order to facilitate community and and spark those conversations. Oh my goodness. Okay, tell us about kind of like your freebie, because the freebie is going to be part of your 3C framework, right? It's a workbook that they can also partake as they're listening to you.
Absolutely. So I was on your website too, Linda, and I love your website. It is so pretty. And I just think you're like an amazing brand strategist.
Thank you.
I, I think a lot of people start their business or write their book without doing the research first. And the most important thing you need to do before you start marketing, start writing, especially, is knowing who you're writing to, who you're writing for, who is your target audience. And I hear often that people say, well, my target audience is Black women between 25 and 65. It cannot be, because a 25-year-old Black woman is incredibly different from a 65-year-old Black woman, right? So a lot of people focus on the demographics. There's also the psychographics, what motivates them, their favorite foods, their favorite magazines, their favorite social networks. So the free offer is a target audience exercise that you can do to create your ideal client avatar. You're going to give her a name and everything. So every time you create content, when you think about connecting, when you think about growing your community, you're going to think about who this ideal client is, and you're going to speak to that person, and everything that you generate is going to resonate to that person. It might resonate to other people too. That's fine if they're going to pay you cash, but you're speaking to that one person. And I think that's a missing piece that a lot of marketers and authors fail to get right.
Yeah, no, that's great, because I have noticed like one of the biggest things that people talk about whenever they're connecting with one another is like, oh, who's your target market? Who's your target audience? Who are you talking to? You know, what do I need to prep for your target audience? So I understand that you have to know where you fit in, I guess, in a sense of because of who you're talking to and where you can show up, right?
So the free offer is the 3C framework. Oh my gosh, say that 5 times fast. So it's going to dive deeper into connection, community, and cash. For instance, connection is more about attracting. And a lot of people immediately go to social media, but your attracting could be local, like at your PTA, speaking events, going to colleges, things like that. So we're going to think about the best ways to connect and attract with your audience or your leads and prospects. And so for each of the 3 C's, we're going to have the workbook will have some exercises for you to determine the best route for you, not what Sally Mae is doing over there, but the best route for you to take.
Yes, thank you so much for that, because sometimes we do need to go deeper. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, what they're missing is to hit the pause button and actually sit and think. Think about their community. Think about, how everything fits together. and where they can make things better or where they need to, withdraw a little bit from. So I think that's excellent. And tell us about the VIP offer. So if you decide to book your VIP ticket, Lana, what are you offering us?
I am going to offer you something that, again, a lot of people overlook. And I say this from being a marketer for 25 years, for working in corporations, for working at a Fortune 1 company when we were actually designated a Fortune 1 company the year that I worked there in the marketing department, to working at a startup. And that is your target audience, your ideal clients. A lot of people have a product or a service and they push it out to everybody. Instead, we're going to, like Linda said, pause, take a step back, and define who your ideal client is. And when we do that, it's going to be broader than what a lot of people say. So instead of focusing on the demographics, this exercise is going to help you focus on the psychographics, what they love, what their motivations are, what they hate. So once you know who they are and you can give them a name, you can drive all of your content, your speaking engagements, your emails, your landing pages to that person so it can resonate, because that person is more than likely to also appeal to you, your offer, your products, your service, and buy.
I love that. I love what you said about kind of like, instead of the demographics, you're going over to the psychographics. I love that because it's so true. You got to go deeper. Nobody wants to go deeper. They think demographics is just, age and that's it. Pretty much.
Right.
Age and gender. Oh my gosh.
Right. And I too, social media has done a disservice to true marketing, because people think, oh, I'm going to get all of these followers. But I have an acquaintance. She does financial literacy for Black women. She checked her following analytics on Facebook, and it's like 65% men, because she's beautiful. And they're not buying from her. They're in her DMs. So you have to think about that as well. So you can have a whole bunch of followers, but are they the right followers? If you're a mompreneur, you're trying to convert them into your client.
It's so true. Like, what is it that you're giving out, and what energy are you putting out there that you're receiving back? And you got to be mindful of what you're attracting, right?
Yep.
That energy that you're putting out there. So I like that. I have a question when it comes to monetization. Like, how would you say someone, as a mompreneur, as an entrepreneur, can monetize with a book? Like, what would you say is the best course of action when it comes to that? Like, they want to have a successful book launch, or they just want to have their book monetize and actually help build their business. What would you say is like the best route for that?
Honestly, having community before you publish, having people expectant and eagerly awaiting your book. And you can do that when you have your target audience and you know the value that you're going to bring. Because I focus with nonfiction authors, my clients are consultants, professionals, and they already know who their clients are. So I tend to stress pre-orders. They can get 100 plus pre-orders. Someone sold over 420 books in her first month. And she already had like a pre-order for like 100 or so. And the way, having that community, having the service and the value, the transformation that your book promises can help you turn that into cash. But once you upload it on Ingram Spark or KDP and you look at how much money they take out, you're going to be mad. I had an author, she was so mad. She said, I don't want to sell it on Amazon. I'm just going to order print copies and sell it myself. And she sold thousands of copies that way because she was well known in the DC area. So all she had to say was, I'm putting out a book. And everyone eagerly anticipated her book. And she got on radio shows and all this other stuff. And she shot the pilot for a reality TV show based off of her book. So you can do it any way that you want, but individual sales is just, it's not something that I think people should emphasize.
No, that's good to know. I try to blast it out, like build community, and sometimes building community is bringing people together, on something common, right?
Yep.
Like a value, or like we're putting together this Monetizing Mompreneur Summit, right? That's already community building. And I stress that because I believe, okay, those big brands that we love, Apple has a community. You get what I'm saying? Because they have people that line up. That's their community,
Oprah. She's
Oprah.
on, was it $15 a year or something like that?
Yeah, she has like anything that she recommends, people are buying, right? I heard like backstories of like she would tell people, hey, prepare for mega sales and a lot of people going on your website.
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely. And I think we forget sometimes the power of community, and we want to do things alone, and we're not collaborating, and we're not, like really facilitating kind of like being seen and heard, because that's really the basis of community, I believe, is like, are you people's feeling seen by you? Because your words, if they're feeling seen, it will resonate. That's how I feel about that. So what have you seen? So this is my question. Like, what have you seen that people are doing wrong? Right? Because we can talk all day about all the right things to do and what we should do, but what have you seen within your industry of entrepreneurs that is just wrong? That is just not wrong, but like maybe there's a different approach, right?
Can I say two things? One for authors and one for entrepreneurs. For authors, what grinds my gears is they say this book is about me, or this book, like when they post, they say, get this book because or I went through this. That irks me, right? But the moment you decide to make your book available to the public, it's no longer about you. It's about the person who can most benefit from your transformation or from your story. So reframing that, I had a book marketing client. He had 800,000 followers across all platforms, and he was posting like that. And I was like, let's tweak your post a bit. And he said he grew his Instagram 140,000 people in a month and a half after I gave him the book marketing plan. And instead of having 2,000 pre-orders, he got 8,000 more after he got my book marketing plan. And after I told him to stop making it about him and talk about what the benefit people get when they read his book. So that's one thing. And then for entrepreneurs in general, and I'm talking to myself when I say this, show up and show up consistently. And I know we're moms. You know what? I can't even say that mom is an excuse, because my child is 34 and the other one just turned 22. So I ain't got no excuse. And I'm a whole marketer with student loans. I got masters in marketing and I'm still not showing up. Like, I couldn't even imagine being pregnant and having to be on stage and wake up and do these book signings and all these other things. Like, she's not even making motherhood an excuse or being pregnant an excuse, right? So whatever it is that's blocking us from showing up fully is something that we should unpack. I know I'm going to be.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. Like, there's certain things that I'm just doing behind the scenes that I'm finishing up because I do want to like show up a bit more, but it is a bit terrifying showing up, right? Consistently, and getting those blocks out of the way. That's like, oof, that's cringe, girl,
Yeah, but then it's like, then the question becomes, I start every time I give myself an excuse, because I did my makeup and I put this on and I was like, I'm doing some TikToks today. And then something in my head started giving me reasons why I shouldn't. But the question I'm starting to ask myself now is, do you really want it if you're not going 100%?
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna take that one to the bank and cash it. All right. That one's good.
Yeah. And then when I say 100%, I don't mean hustling and working ourselves down to the bone because we need rest. But I mean, like, for me, from what I know, I'm probably doing 50%. And at 50%, I made six figures. Imagine me going 100%.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And that's one of the things that I've also kind of like thought to my own self is kind of like, if I'm not going all in, then why even do it, right? Well, why even show up if I'm not doing it for real, right? If
Right.
I'm so scared to do it for real, right? Why even,
Right.
right?
And then we have an added nuance with everything that's going on in our climate. For a lot of us, going back to corporate isn't the answer. So do you really want to stay at 50% and then struggle with your taxes and struggle with your lead gen and, struggle with all these things to the point where in order to save your house, you got to get a job. So, and I'm talking to myself. So like really understand your why. Why did you choose to become an entrepreneur? And then tell yourself what would happen with that why if it failed. And the only way I define failure is not following through.
I have one last question, and because this is something that kind of like this is it plagues me, I guess, a little bit, and I think about it, and basically, you have grown children, right? My children are still little. They're still kind of like, they're in elementary, and one just made it to middle school right now. Their ages are um 6, she's about to be 7, 9, and my 12-year-old. And there's certain moments that I'm like, you know what? I just bring it all down. Bring it all down. Right? Let me just focus on something else, because it's so much, right? So much responsibility, with making sure you're spending enough time with your kids, making sure you're spending enough time with your spouse or significant other. But we don't think about life after kids. We don't think about life after, like, being empty nesters and then looking back and how we lived, right?
Mhm.
And for my mom, she is one of the hardest working women I know. And, and I value her work ethic because, I mean, I just admire how she kind of like reared us up, and there are four of us, and that was one hardworking woman. So, and my dad helps some too. But what would you say to women kind of like in the thick of it, and they're going for it, but they're doubting, right? They're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be, they're down in between going 100% to 50% to 10%, right? They're like, it might be a fail. So they just do 10%. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it might not work out. So let me do just a little bit, or it's just a hobby, or going all in, right? So what would you say? Like, you looking back at your own life and
So to be honest, looking back at my life, I think I was a better parent and a better wife when I had a contracting role or I was doing some self-employed thing. When I worked in corporate, it was draining. And then they wanted access to you all the time. And then like all of the political stuff and the drama that goes on. But when you're a contractor, you're removed from all of that. And then when you have your own business, you're pretty much isolated. So I think if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have tried to make entrepreneurship work. There are going to be seasons where you just can't go 100 or 50, or there are going to be like times where you just literally can't. Like my son was born with celiac, and back in the early 2000s, no one knew what was wrong with him until like he was probably about 7 or 8. We discovered he can't eat wheat. So we had years of him just being sick and not gaining weight. And that was stressful. I could not have gone 100% during that time. I don't think I did. I think I had my own business then. But when I say 100%, I don't mean, how people are saying, I'll sleep when I die. I mean, putting together a plan where you can find time for your kids, your husband, your house, activities. I'll be honest because we're all going to be honest on here. I'm probably not going to make six figures this year. Like I could, but I probably not. I'm not going to stress about it. And here's why. What I did to make six figures the prior 2 years, I don't want to do anymore. It was way too much work for one person, and I don't want to live like that. I'm trying to create a lead gen model and a service model where I don't have to deal with so many authors at one time. So if you can find a strategy that works for you, like right now I'm implementing weekly webinars and then one-on-one calls, and then I'm going to add on an editor. That's going to free up my time so I can do other things, right? But
yeah, absolutely. I get what you're saying. Like 100% is not about like run, hustle, hustle, hustle. I truly believe 100% is doing the best strategy for the type of life you want to live.
Yep.
And actually sitting down and thinking about, okay, and knowing what to do each day. You know what I'm saying? Like between the time that you have without any kids, right? Because I have from like 9 to 2. That is just me, instead of me like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit on the couch. I know I played, I'm gonna Netflix and chill right now because I'm stressed with all these clients.
Right.
It's like implementing the strategy no matter how you feel, between the hours that you have set aside to do it. That's what I think 100% is.
Yep.
I don't think 100% is like hustling all night, burning the midnight oil. I don't think that's 100%. That's like way more than that's like 200%.
Yep. And my children are 11 years apart, and they both call me mean mommy, but they both also say that they love the fact that I was able to be available to them. Like, we didn't have cell phones. My daughter was younger, but she was like, I want McDonald's for lunch. And I would bring her McDonald's for lunch and I would sit with her. I did the field trips and I did the same thing for my son as well. And they loved that I was accessible to them during those years. So if entrepreneur can get you that type of life with your children, then that's your why. That's your reason to go 100% and finding a model that works for you.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm also kind of like finding new ways, like switching over from that one-to-one model into the one-to-many model that is more community-based. And that's why like I spent a lot of time growing a community, because I find that that's kind of like the secret to move away and secret to get clients and to kind of like move away from one-on-one work, because that is a certain time you get maxed out and that's it. That's all you can do in that 1 month, because that's one-on-one, right? So diversifying those income streams, I think, is really important. What would you say, how can authors diversify their income streams, or even entrepreneurs?
I know they say like you become a millionaire with 7 different streams of revenue. And I'm just like, a lot of us aren't even at the point where to be even thinking about that, right? And I know I get a lot of offers to do other things, but I want a sustainable model for my main business first. Because when you jump into several different things, you're pulling your energy and your resources, and you're not going to find success that way. With this new model for my indie press, if I could get that to 6 figures and everything is going where it doesn't need me more, then I'll focus on other things as well. But what I like to suggest is have it be in the same lane. So if I'm talking about books and authorship, then I might find an AI model that talks about the same thing. So it's either a product or service that could help my community already. So for anybody else, for any type of business that you're doing, whatever that second or third stream of income, if it could be something that could satisfy the need of your target audience, that would be great. I love how you're doing the affiliate model. That's always helpful as well. Affiliate is an easy way to earn a second stream of revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's, like you said, 7 streams. Some people are not even thinking about all of that. Like, let's see what works. I think it's sometimes you just got to stumble your way into like seeing what works, what doesn't work, what your people really want from you, right? Because
Yep.
your audience may want something completely different from someone else's audience. And that's why I think it's like really important to build that community and then do market research and building from that community. I think that a lot of people forget the market research portion of it.
Yeah, absolutely. There are plenty of women who do what I do. I know several of them, their model is write a book in 90 days. And I've seen that everywhere. I think everyone is like, write a book in a day, write a book in 90 days. So when I started my self-publishing offer, I was like, well, I'll just do the 90-day thing, even though I don't believe in it. Coming from like a traditional background, I don't believe in it. But ironically, the people who gravitated to me do not want to write a book in 90 days. They only want to write a book in 60 days or like 120 days. They're like, I want this to be well thought out, a lot of market research. I wanted to appeal to my audience and I wanted to grow my brand. So it was interesting to see that I tried to do something I didn't believe in, but my core audience was like, no, sis, we don't believe in that either. Stop it.
Elona, this has been an amazing conversation. Where can people find you?
Well, I spend most of my time on LinkedIn, and it is my first and last name, Elona Washington. We're talking about showing up 100%. I'm committing myself to being more active on Instagram and TikTok, and it's also my first and last name as well.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. And again, get your ticket to Monetizing Mompreneur Summit. Elona's framework is in there along with her free workbook, and upgrade your VIP ticket is going to be worth it because these speakers are giving a lot of gold. Wow. Wasn't that such a good conversation? Elona dropped so much wisdom about connection, community, and showing up 100%. Her 3C framework, connection, community, and cash, is something every entrepreneur can apply right now. And this is exactly what we've been talking about all month: finding alignment, collaborating intentionally, and growing in community. But friend, that's not all. I've got something really special coming next week that takes everything we've talked about, simplicity, clarity, and collaboration, to an entirely new level. It's something designed to help you grow your business without burnout, and it's for mompreneurs who are ready to link arms and step into their next season with confidence. So make sure you're subscribed to the Monetizing Mompreneurs podcast and follow me on Instagram at Monetizing Mompreneurs, or at my personal, well, it's pretty much my personal brand, Linda Mendible. Because on Monday, I'm revealing what's next, Lord willing, possibly Tuesday. And trust me, you do not want to miss it. Until then, keep showing up, keep connecting, and remember, stay encouraged, stay visible, and always know, with God, all things are possible. Until next time,